So you can see I got my bench packed up for the winter. Bit of a mess, but I decided I want to do a project. So here we go. One of my buddies at work, he brought up the fact that he has a gun he wants to keep locked in his car. He wanted me to make the circuit to drive the whole opening process. So he got the box he wants for his gun. It has to be locked with a solenoid. I already ordered the part. So pretty much some criteria for the lockbox. We want to have a key switch. We want to be able to lock. I got all this stuff on site except for the solenoid, which will come in a few days. Also, after you turn the key, we want to put in a manual button press. Hold it down for a few seconds, and then that'll open up the box. So, button press, and excuse that funny looking P. Button press and hold. We'll decide the time. It's just going to be an RC time constant. So, for right now, we'll just call it a few seconds. Okay, also, when you turn the key, I want an LED to come on. That way you know the circuit's live. So you put the key in, you turn it, you have an indicator that everything's good. For the button press and hold, I also want indicators. Granted, it's going to be a few seconds. I want something showing me where we're at within those few seconds. So I got an LED array. So we want LED array, and it's going to go in sequential order. Pretty much it'll just light up as we get closer to opening the box. So how it's going to work is, does it go through a voltage divider network? The voltage divider network is going to be fed off of an RC network. So pretty much we have an RC network, we have a little resistor capacitor in series. This voltage divider is going to feed off the end of that capacitor, and that's how I'm going to trigger my LEDs through use the op amps or like some 741s or maybe some comparators. I got a shit ton to choose from, so I'll probably use some comparators. I got some quad comparators I'll probably use. Pretty much as you hold the button, the capacitor is going to charge the RC network. As that capacitor is charging, it's going to drop voltages across the resistor, or excuse me, against the voltage divider, that resistive network. So just for example, if we have 4 LEDs, those are horrible triangles. So we'll have the inputs, and we'll have the references go to wherever we put the references to. There's a number of things I can use, Zeners or other voltage divider networks, wherever we decide. These outputs, these are what's going to drive this LED array. So I believe it's 4 LEDs in the array. So press the button for, let's just say, a second, one comes on, hold down for 2 seconds, another one comes on, hold down for 3 seconds, another one comes on, and hold down for 4 seconds, the last one comes on. So along with this last one letting you know the lock's going to open, I also want a piezo buzzer. So let's just say this is the last one. It's going to have a BJT come off. So along with this triggering a relay, it's also going to drive a piezo crystal. So forgive me if I forget the symbol. I believe it's an X. So we have our piezo crystal. It's going to go up to the 12 volts positive. This is going to be in a car, by the way, so it's all running off 12. So this will go up to 12. And oh yeah, fail-safe. We want a fail-safe. So I'm going to put in an electronic fail-safe. I'm going to recommend the guy who I'm making it for puts in a mechanical failsafe. That's not really my thing. I'm sure he'd make a much better one than I do, so let him do that one. And I think my electrical failsafe will be straightforward and pretty intuitive. You know how like on the back of routers or most electronics, a little small pinhole for a reset button? Be something very similar. Some have a micro switch. Those little generic ones you see, it's just like the little metal can, a black button in the center, those 4 tiny legs you can never ever solder. Yep, one of those. So, I'm going to have, I believe they're diagonal if I remember right. Going to have a line coming off of one leg and the other. It's going to go to, it's going to pretty much bypass and hit that relay. So this relay obviously is hooked up to the solenoid. The solenoid's going to open the box. So this little switch is going to bypass all this and directly activate this relay. Now what I like about this, and why I mentioned that router and other electronics with that small reset button, is because if you have, let's just say this is one wall of the box. I don't know how thick it's going to be, but we're just going to guess. So draw a very, very small hole, big enough for a pin, like so, and then, I don't know, maybe a quarter or halfway up from the bottom, drill a slightly bigger hole, bigger enough to set this thing in it. So let's just say, there you go, so bigger hole, smaller hole. So take this thing, jam it in there, glue it, make sure obviously your glue doesn't stick that button up or down. This hole's already drilled, you don't want to try and drill past it and not hit this button, so already drill this hole obviously. And now you have failsafe. This will be hidden in the box somewhere. No robber's gonna be looking for excuse me, looking for pinholes to push for reset buttons, so now you can just stick a bobby pin or a safety pin, whatever you got, inside there, and it'll bypass your relay. The legality of that, I'm not sure, because obviously we want the keys so it can be locked away in his car. But I'll give him the rundown and let him choose on that. But I think that's a good idea. I believe that's it for now. See, we got indicator, the lock's open, got a piezo indicator as well, gives a nice little auditory indicator, LEDs that kind of show you how you're progressing with the button hold. Oh yeah, the trim pot. Okay, so you have a wheel trim pot. So in this part of the RC time constant, obviously if this was a potentiometer, you could designate how slow or fast the capacitor charges, which will designate how slow or fast this door opens up. So I have a little wheel pot, like something you'd see in those Walkman, you know? You guys remember Walkman? Yes, I do. Okay, so when you slide that wheel trim pot, it's turning your volume up and down. It's like, excuse me, part of the feedback loop for the gain of like an op amp or whatever it is they're using to turn the audio up and down on your Walkman. So same concept here. I am not going to mount this all in a box, not yet at least. I'm not sure what kind of box he's using, so if I put this in a project enclosure and it's not going to be suitable for his needs, I don't want to waste time doing that, so I'm going to bring in this circuit just as a prototype. It'll be soldered together or anything, but it'll be prototype, like form factor, and then we'll do it from there. Alrighty, till next time.